if there's a child who's questioning their sexuality, I feel like there should be resources there for that. If there's a child who is experiencing abuse at home, there should be resources for that. If there's a child who is a teen mom, there should be resources for that. Because what happens is when we don't have the correct resources in place for students or for children or teens or young adults, they fall into the wrong hands, into the hands of predators, right? LGBTQ plus youth or people in general are another marginalized community. So even the people who, or let's say the men who claim that they're not gay, a lot of times we find that those are the people who are committing heinous acts or abuse or sexual abuse on LGBTQ plus children or students or whatever, because no one's paying attention to them, right? They think that nobody gives a damn about this group of people so that they could literally do what they want to this group of people and not receive consequences. And then also when you don't have resources ready for youth in different milestones of their life, they don't have the correct information or tools to be able to make the right decisions. So even if they are gay, you know what I'm saying? Even if they are queer or trans or questioning their sexuality, there still needs to be resources in place to lead them in the right direction, because we still don't want them to make the wrong decisions, right?
Can I say something,
No matter
Jenny?
what.
And I appreciate you
Go
being
ahead.
cool. Can I say something, please? My personal opinion, right? I personally feel like public schools need to be abolished altogether, and I'm gonna explain why. I feel like kids are better off being taught by their own parents. The values of your parents should be the ones that are reflected within society. Because me personally, I've discovered that a lot of these public schools, like I was a victim of the public school system in Chicago, and I was just taught a lot of things that I learned as an adult are just simply not true. I was taught about transgenderism in public schools, which is just a lie. And now that I understand that, it's like, well, if I have children in the future, I never would expose them to that stuff, because I just know that there are a lot of people who have been brainwashed to think that stuff is normal, but it's not. And so I would just not want to expose my kids to that, and I think that it would be better for the overwhelming future generations if that just was not a thing that was incentivized curriculum. That's me.
So you say you were a victim of the public school system in Chicago. How old are you?
I'm 25.
25. Okay, I'm just a year older.
Okay.
So what else was it about your public school that you didn't like?
I actually very much enjoyed, especially my high school experience, because I enjoyed the environment. I enjoyed the people that were around me. I thought that my school was really nice. But when I look back in retrospect from when I got, as I say all the time, red pilled, I realized that a lot of the things that I was taught were simply not true. And I've actually had experiences where, like, I had a former teacher of mine, for example, in high school, because I had a lot of my teachers on Facebook after I graduated because of how cool I was with my teachers. And one of my former teachers was trying to tell me that black people can't be racist. Like when I was like a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago, and I'm 25, like I said, so I've been out of high school. And that was crazy to me. I couldn't believe it. So just looking back, just knowing that, like, if I decided to go to I think my 10-year high school reunion would be 2028. So if I went, I feel like a lot of the teachers just like wouldn't even want me to be there or would look down on me because of my opinions politically, and it's crazy. Especially when it's just things that I know aren't even like that controversial. Like we all know a man can become a woman. And another thing that's apparently so controversial, that's my opinion, is that I don't believe in abortion, aka killing a baby. Like that shit is crazy. That's just me though. So yeah, I just feel like the
Okay.
public school systems are just like tainted because unfortunately most of the people who graduate from college, most universities, especially the major ones, are ran by Democrats. It's just a simple fact. So given that intel, I'm like, well, why would I want my kids to be going to a school, even the best of the best schools are probably being taught by the most elite Democrats? I don't want those around my kids. I know it's probably controversial.
Okay. Okay. So first let's start with how did your school have classes about uh transitioning, gender identity, and all these types of things?
Okay, so when I was in high school, right, when I was a senior specifically, I took a class called Race, Class, and Gender Studies. This was my senior year
Okay.
course. And during this class, my teacher was really cool. It was a black man named Mr. Brown. He was cool. I liked him. It was really a kind of an easy class. But every once in a while, we would just have like a casual discussion about transgenderism, and it wasn't even strange to me that we were talking about it. It was just like, oh, we're going to talk about, it was just a lesson of the day. Oh, we're going to talk about the history of gender identity. We're going to talk about gender identity. It was never painted as like a weird thing. We're going to talk about masculinity, femininity, like those different type of subjects, gender studies, and it was
Mm.
the normal thing. And then when I went to community college, I remember writing an essay about transgenderism, like it was normal. I actually
Mm.
remember it was a course that I took because I took community college for my freshman year, and then I went to UIUC for my sophomore year. And then I dropped out. But for my freshman year, I was at the community college in Chicago, and I remember I took a psychology course, and my psychology teacher, she was cool. I mean, the class was easy. We were watching a movie or a documentary about, I don't know if you know Cher, or have you ever heard of Cher, like the singer, I think.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cher.
Yeah.
Apparently, Cher has a transgender son. She transed her son into a boy, so he's living as a man, or she's living as a man, or whatever. I'm not really good with the pronouns, but yeah. So I watched that documentary while I was at community college, and I remember I literally have my Google Docs to this day. I could pull it up where I made a whole essay about transgenderism and just like the different aspects of it and how it was normal. And this was as recent as 2019 when I was in college. So just thinking back, I can remember this shit very recently. It's very vivid to me. I can pull it up in my Google Docs, like I said. It's disturbing that I was going to these so-called professional universities trying to get a degree, and they were teaching me this stupid shit. Like, for lack of a better term, it was dumb, and I just don't agree with it. And I'm very disturbed that I almost feel like I never even got a formal, like, proper education because most of my curriculum was filled with bullshit. It's disturbing.
Okay.